Hey guys, I'm Will from Tested.
And I'm Norm from Tested.
Norm, we have a long history with the Nvidia Shield.
We got the very first Shield.
The original, the OG. It's a neat idea. It didn't work very well at launch. I actually just took it home a couple of weeks ago. Had a pretty good time with it. The controller's still not the most comfortable thing I've ever used, but the technology, the streaming technology works really well, especially since I switched to a 5 gigahertz router.
Yeah, and Nvidia has been providing continual support for the streaming technology. So if you've never heard of Shield, it was what everyone's called Nvidia's console, their portable console, their Game Boy. But basically, it was a platform to showcase a couple things, mostly their Tegra 4 processor, which they announced at CES 2013, and it was their Android device. So you can run Android games. It had a control pad, which we did not like that much. Largely, the ergonomics didn't work so well.
It's uncomfortable.
It was frankly uncomfortable and kind of expensive for what you're going to get, because at that time, not many games supported the controllers directly, and the streaming stuff at launch was not very good.
But I mean, the neat thing about the streaming stuff now that it actually works pretty well, and just to be clear, the thing that changed was when I upgraded my router, not when not anything else. I needed the 5 gigahertz router in order to have enough clear bandwidth that I could do low latency streaming across Wi-Fi. The thing that's neat about it is that you can stream your big, high-budget PC games anywhere in your house that has Wi-Fi coverage. And I think now even anywhere over the internet, if you don't mind a little additional latency, and get a pretty compelling single-player gameplay. I would never try to play Dota or StarCraft or something competitive, even TF2. But I totally played a ton of single-player games on it and had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they introduced something new a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
We got to take an early look at it.
Yes, and we actually bought this unit. This is the Shield tablet. So second generation Shield, not replacing what they're now calling the Shield Portable, but same technology, same idea, whereas the Shield Portable introduced and was a big platform, launch platform for the Tegra 4. This is a big launch platform for the new Tegra K1, the 5th generation Tegra processor.
So just like the original Shield control, what they're calling the controller now, just the original Shield is how I think of it. You can play Android games, you can play some Nvidia optimized exclusive Nvidia games that are also Android games, and then you can also stream your PC games from your desktop.
And the smart decision was to release it as a tablet first, not as a Game Boy competitor or a 3DS competitor.
Right.
So its nearest competitor in the Android space is probably the Nexus 7. So I have them side by side here. Nexus 7, it's a year-old device, and I really liked the Nexus 7 when it came out. It ran basically what was Nexus 4 hardware, a little bit slightly tweaked. On what I thought was a really light form factor, 290 grams, really good price point, $230. And the Shield is kind of like a beefy Nexus 7.
Is it the same size screen?
It is.
It's a different aspect ratio?
It's a bigger. It's a 8-inch screen as opposed to a 7-inch screen. Okay. 1920 by 1200 resolution.
Versus 1080p on the other one?
I believe it's still 1200 resolution on the Nexus 7. But it's bulkier. It has the same fat forehead, kind of a big chin, a kind of big bezel. It's a little thicker, and it weighs more. It weighs not only more at 390 grams than the Nexus 7, 290 grams, but weighs more to what you're used to, the iPad mini, which is 330 grams.
Wow.
That's not a big gram difference, but because of this additional heft and because of the way it's designed, it actually is more comfortable in this landscape position. It feels a little heavier than what I'm used to for this kind of small tablet.
The nice thing about that versus the iPad mini, though, is that because it's a thinner aspect ratio, it's going to be a little more comfortable in your hand, I think. You're going to end up taking less stress on your thumb than you do with the mini. Yeah,
there are pros and cons to having the iPad's aspect ratio and also what's basically the 1920 by 1200, 16 by 10 aspect ratio for both web browsing and landscape stuff. For example, movies look great on this.
One of the things I'm noticing right now is that it has speakers on the front, which I think I've not seen on a tablet before.
Some cheap tablets did, and they may really want to make this a multimedia device. So I'm going to quickly show just, for example, I put The Shining on here. This is 720p, The Shining Blu-ray, and it looks fantastic. I'm gonna, oh no, it is on-screen controls. I might have accidentally closed it. There it goes, and it's there. The scary dreams.
Are you mocking The Shining? Why are the controls not going away, Norm?
There it goes.
There you go.
And here's a great place to show the viewing angles. I actually think that this screen, this LCD display, is not the best. It's definitely inferior to the Nexus 7, which I think is a more vibrant display. The colors are a little more muted here. Fine for movies, but for photos, when I look at my photos, like high resolution DSLR photos, compared between this, the Nexus 7, and the Surface 3, they look best in the Surface 3, second best on the Nexus 7, and a distant third, I thought, on the Shield tablet.
Did you find that the speakers on the front made movie watching better?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Both movie watching and gameplay.
Like you were able to hear more if you were in the back of a car or something like that? Okay.
Primarily a tablet. Inside, there's 2 gigs of RAM. There's a Tegra K1, which is like the Tegra 4, a Cortex, an ARM-based CPU, system on a chip. It's a Cortex A15, if those people care about the technical aspects.
Is it quad-core?
Quad core, well, 5 cores actually, just like the Tegra 4.
I thought they had like 16 cores or something like that.
There are 4 cores, but also there's a 5th, like a low power core that runs at 1 gigahertz.
Okay.
The difference between this and the Tegra 4 is that it's higher clocked, 28 nanometer process. And in the controller settings, it actually gets a little bit warm. It's, the thermals are designed so that this can run a really high clock rate, 2.2 gigahertz. But you can go into power control, and you can see this. I can actually change my processor mode. I'm on battery savings right now, but go to a customized power mode where I can say, you know, CPU frequency, I don't want that 2.2 gigahertz. It's going to kill my battery. Let's run at 80% battery, 80% CPU to extend the battery life. Or I can run at fewer cores. I don't want to run it. Actually, I wouldn't recommend running this at 2 cores unless you do no video gaming at all on this. And you can actually set a captive frame rate, which I think is nice. For some games on Android which aren't optimized, they'll just let you run at the max frame rate, benchmarks especially. You can cap that at 30, which I think is a good frame rate.
So does that affect the stream games as well?
It doesn't actually affect the outputting the stream games.
Okay.
Internally, that's going to be at 30 always.
Okay.
Nor does it affect the streaming out, which I'll talk about in just a second. This is not exactly stock Android. It's Nvidia's version. It runs on 4.4.2.
But does it still have the Play Store and Google Chrome
Absolutely.
and all that stuff?
It has all the Play Store built in. It's pretty close. And the things they added are pretty bare bones. The things they added, which we'll talk about, just a sec. I guess the stylus is the first big thing to talk about. So
wait, what? There's a stylus?
There's a stylus built in, and that's one of the reasons it is a little hefty. Cameras, 5 megapixel front and back. The stylus is actually right here.
Hold on, so, but before we go to that, essentially, if you want a stock Android tablet that you can use Chrome, web browse the web on, like this is a contender.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
You can put whatever software you want from the Play Store. You can do all the stuff that you would do with your Nexus 7. It's just a year newer hardware.
Yeah.
And some extra stuff tossed in.
It's pretty cutting-edge hardware. Okay. Not many, in terms of the latest Cortex A15, not many system on a chips actually from like OEMs like Qualcomm. Not many devices use that yet.
Has anybody done like real performance comparisons between this new SoC from Nvidia and stuff from Qualcomm and some of the other people?
So on the CPU side, they have, and it's pretty comparable. On the GPU side, this actually uses a PC class GPU. They're Kepler cores.
Okay.
It's I think 192 Kepler cores, and built into that is H.264 encoding. So that's how you get the video out. So it's the good thing about that though is it runs all of the PC APIs, and so you have people developing games in Unity, it's very easy to port that over.
You don't have to rewrite your shader programs to work on different platforms.
Yeah. And so games like when we first saw this, they demoed War Thunder, which at this point isn't out yet. That will run here locally, and it will, with some DRes textures, low resolution textures, but then it'll be compatible with the War Thunder on consoles and on PC, on Linux. Let me quickly run over the hardware. There's a micro SD expansion slot here. This is the 16 gig version, so you can put up to 64 gigs in here.
Can you run games off the micro SD card?
I wouldn't recommend running games off of it, but you can store media there.
So you put your MP3s in your movies and stuff.
The power button, I think, is a little bit too not protruding enough. It's a little difficult to tap. I mean, it's
a little bit recessed.
Yeah, it's not recessed, but it just doesn't pop up enough.
Is there a physical button on the front, or are they all capacitive buttons?
It's all capacitive buttons. So just like the current version of Android, it does full screen apps in which the menus disappear and you have to tap the screen again. And then there is an HDMI out, which we'll get to, and then on the top here there's micro USB for the power. So we'll do stylus first.
Okay. I'm interested in the stylus on a tablet.
Now, when I pull the stylus out, it does activate a launch menu, which I think is really neat. And you can configure this so you can have it just go to an app directly, or you can pop up the menu and you can change what's in this menu, which is nice because then I can go tap into a writing program, Just Write.
And presumably you'd be able to set this if like all you ever use the stylus for is Evernote, you'd be able to set it to just launch straight to Evernote. Straight to Evernote.
Okay. And the stylus is still a capacitive stylus. It's not powered at all. But just like with the Nvidia had a previous tablet with the Direct Stylus 1, the GPU calculates and determines whether what you're marking with is your finger, which for this program is deactivated, or with the stylus.
How can it tell if there's no battery in the stylus?
It computes the touch points.
Oh, based on the fatness of the stylus?
Based on the fatness, exactly. It measures the screen 300 times a second, which is faster than, I think, on iPads, like 60 hertz, to determine whether your hand is there, your finger is there, or a stylus. Now, that also lets it mimic some pressure sensitivity. In terms of writing, it's not as effective as a Surface Pro 3, as an active stylus, using an active digitizer. But there's palm recognition, and I can do, for example, I will delete these items. I will do notes, and I can, have my notes. This is a test. Now, I'm kind of scribbling right now.
Really big.
Really big. And I think, when you're writing on it's fine because you can scale that up and down. These are vectors. When you're doing cursive, I found that was the best because you're not lifting it. And when you have to lift it up, it's better if you do big lifts.
So the registration, it's hard to tell where you're putting the pen back down, it seems like.
Yeah, because it is a soft button. And I will demonstrate the pressure sensitivity.
I was going to say, it seems like the kind of stylus would be better for maybe drawing than taking notes.
Yeah, and I'm using it here on the desktop, which on the desktop obviously recognizes both the stylus and my finger. What's nice though is it also pops up. You can have the option of popping up 2 additional menus on the bottom, 2 additional buttons on the navigation menu. I can tap here, which looks like a hand and a lock button.
Is that only when the stylus is out?
Only when the stylus is out. So if I put the stylus back in, that menu on the bottom disappears. But when I pull that back out, whoop, and I will actually launch Dabbler. What will happen is that menu, and this takes a second to load because this is GPU, it's a stylus mode is active. In the home screen, now I gotta tap the screen, of course, to get this back into this mode. In the home screen, what I want to demo is if I hit this button, now it's in stylus only mode, and so my finger doesn't register at all. And I can navigate in some programs with just the stylus.
Were you able to trick it and make it use your finger?
I tried and I couldn't. Yeah, so it's good enough. The GPU is good enough in its processing to recognize the difference between that. It also has this lasso mode where if I'm in, for example, a photo, or let's say I want to take a good screen cap of this, I'll play the movie, and I want to take a screen cap. I can actually press this button here, and I can draw and just say I want to take a screen cap of that. So much like I did on the Surface. Let's say, oh, that guy's an evil guy, and I can share and save that.
Cool.
And maybe even make my annotations.
I mean, this seems like an interesting bonus, but I don't know that anybody's going to buy this looking for this kind of stylus note-taking functionality.
It's not for any, the thought is that it's for designers. And same with the Surface Pro. That has that functionality. I didn't use it in day-to-day in terms of screen grabbing, but it is a nice little feature. So going back to Dabbler, Nvidia developed it. It's a GPU-accelerated drawing program, painting program. And I'll show you the watercolor effect. It simulates paint literally drying on this canvas.
Is it just for watercolors, or can you simulate oil and all sorts of
other stuff? You can do oil
too?
And stuff like that. I'm in the watercolor mode right now. This is a watercolor canvas. And so if I draw this, and this is like a watercolor, you can actually see it spreading out a little bit. And I can actually dry this immediately, and this is as if it'll say like there.
So it's like there's a capillary effect in the paper, and the watercolor is being sucked out through the fibers of the paper. That's neat.
So here's a big brush, and as I overlay, and then you can see it actually shimmers a little bit, and there it goes. The shimmering goes away as the paint dries. I think it's a neat tech demo. It's a painting application. That's a tech demo, but I don't know anyone who actually uses this, and I haven't heard from artists who are super excited about this type of program.
Yeah, I mean, this is stuff that like Fractal Design Painter has done for more than a decade now.
Exactly.
Probably this is a little faster, and that obviously doesn't run on a tablet. But anyway, okay, so move on.
Anyway, so that's the stylus. I think it's a really nice feature to have a stylus. It works. I think the stylus is, I would say, about 70% that of a digital active digitizer. You don't get like your mouse cursor overlays, and Android is suited for use with a stylus because there's like mouse pointer support.
How would you compare it to the latest Surface? I mean, I know it's completely apples to oranges, but it's
about 70% the effectiveness of the Surface.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, considering it's much cheaper.
Absolutely. So it is a tablet, but it's also a Shield device. So I put it on a stand right now because I want to introduce this thing. It's an accessory. It's the Shield wireless controller.
Okay, it looks really big.
If we compare it with the original Shield controller,
that looks even bigger, Norm.
It's much improved. Primarily because in the original Shield controller, to accommodate the screen, the buttons had to be recessed here.
Well, it wasn't so much the buttons; it was the sticks. I found that the sticks being sunken down into the controller meant that you had to kind of claw your hands around the outside in a way that was pretty uncomfortable. Plus, the trigger location was poor at best.
Natural resting, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Whereas on here, it looks like an Xbox One controller, and
it looks like a DualShock 4 and an Xbox controller like had babies, because the stick placement is the PS3 PS4 layout, but it is honking big still. Like maybe it kind of looks like the Duke in a lot of ways.
And they did fix things like the shoulder buttons, the shoulder button design.
Shoulder buttons now.
Yep. A $60 accessory that only works with the Shield tablet. You cannot plug this into a PC and have it function as your PC controller, which I think was the biggest disappointment of this.
It uses Wi-Fi Direct to communicate?
It's a Wi-Fi Direct only, so you can't even pair it with other Bluetooth devices or other Android tablets. But you can see there's a mouse cursor on here because Android does have mouse cursor support. So I don't have mouse cursor on the stick here. There's a touchpad right here, so I actually get mouse cursor. My volume buttons are here, which are push buttons.
The touchpad's really triangular, or is it that little square thing?
It's triangular. It's right here. Yeah. It's a touchpad here, primarily for use when this is being connected to a TV in its console mode. And then 3 buttons here. One is a back button, one is the start button for games, and one's the home button. These are capacitive, and I wish that this was actually a hard button. The home button being capacitive button is a little weird.
It seems like you could hit it too easily. And I assume the back button kicks you out of whatever you're doing if you're streaming a game or something like that.
Yeah. The center triangle here is like the Xbox button. It launches what's called the Shield Hub. So I'm going to hold this.
Hold on. How do you handle games that expect to select or back button on the controller? Does it use?
Yeah, it uses those.
It uses those too. So it doesn't pull you. So in that case, it wouldn't pull you back to the Android menu. Okay.
Yes.
How's the D-pad, Norm?
D-pad's good. Everything, all the button everything, the throw, everything feels good. There's a headphone jack here, so because it's Wi-Fi Direct, you get audio piped through here as well, low latency, and then it charges with micro USB here.
Is it built-in batteries?
Built-in batteries, 40-hour. They say charge life. I haven't used this, expended it in its full life yet. I'm here in their main console hub, which is the Shield hub right now, and you can of course buy games. You can launch your Android games. It comes with the game Trine 2, which I'm going to launch right now.
And this is a game that's been out on multiple platforms: PC, Xbox, PS3. This is the Android native version of Trine 2, right?
And it's a game that looks fantastic, frankly, on the Shield tablet. The effects are wonderful.
Is this one of the Nvidia optimized games?
It is.
Okay.
It is, and this comes included with the Shield tablet. It's one of the free games.
Can you buy it from the Play Store?
You can buy Trine 2. I'm not sure you can buy this exact version,
different version
of Trine 2, because this one's made for Tegra. I'm going to tap again to skip. And then the buttons, because it's made for the Shield, they match up to the buttons here. And so I can launch here. I'll just launch real basic. I started a new game. Loading. Because it's basically running PC level software, you're going to get your loading times. But the game looks and runs fantastic.
Can we hook this up to HDMI so we can just send the capture out?
Absolutely. So that's the other thing I wanted to demo is that I can actually plug this in with the micro HDMI 1.4 because Tegra K1 supports it, and we will actually get live outputs. Now, when you plug it in, you get two modes. It says mirror mode or console mode. With console mode, you get a high resolution. I'm going to do mirror mode because I want to see what I'm doing. And here we go. This is actually the full mode.
You should watch the screen because that'll be lag
on here. And even the icon is matched up, so it shows you the new Shield wireless controller. Frame rate's good. The graphics look fantastic.
Can you do multiple play? Like part of the hook of this game is that you can do, it's the 3-player game.
Absolutely, and the Shield tablet actually lets you connect up to 4 of these wireless controllers.
Can you hook a normal, I think you can hook a normal Bluetooth controller as well, right?
You can, if you, because there's micro USB, if you plug in, or a Bluetooth controller, you can also plug in a wired Xbox controller. Okay. 360 controller.
Did you try a PS3 or PS4 controller?
I haven't tried the I don't have a PS4 controller to try. Okay. But Xbox wired works. So games look fantastic. Responsiveness, you might see a little bit delay because of the way we're doing our HDMI out, but the game looks really good. War Thunder was the other game I was really looking forward to playing, but unfortunately it's not out right now. But there are tap games and you can use the touchscreen. I'm going to back out right now.
How do you?
Yes. So
hold on, let's see this.
Let me resume game.
Yeah.
So the back out, I can press start right there. Or if I just want to straight up back out, I can just press that home button.
And that'll take you back to the Shield hub. And I assume it'll save your state as if the Android app supports that stuff. Right?
You have media apps. You can do all your Netflix stuff. So if this is my set-top box, because you can put this on a stand and plug HDMI.
Plug power and HDMI into it.
Power in. Okay. This replaces the need for a Roku box.
Yeah, this seems like a pretty expensive Roku box.
It is. Though. But if then I'm also buying a tablet.
Right. If you live in a dorm and only have one TV and you're the only person who ever uses it, it makes sense. Kind of.
Now the other thing you can do is also launch Steam.
Interesting.
As the previous Shield portable could do, it lets you then stream basically your desktop and run Steam here.
So this is Steam, the living room version of Steam.
Yes, living room version of Steam. And it's being piped in. I'm on 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Okay. And it's loading not only on the PC I've connected, it's also seeing. And of course, it crashed because it needed some syncs.
Oh, it's downloading your saves.
Yeah. Let's see if it works. Not every game will launch from Steam, as we had problems before. It's better when the GeForce Experience app loads up the exe, and you don't run it through Steam, but you just run it from the game, the game launcher. But some games like this, like Nidhogg, for example, didn't work. Super Meat Boy kind of worked.
In my experience, Nidhogg and Super Meat Boy both are really latency sensitive, and they just don't work very well with streaming, even wired to wired streaming using SteamOS boxes.
Yeah, it's still loading on my local PC. I might have even broken it. So I'm gonna exit out of there. I know resume Steam, of course, but you have to trust me. It does work.
But the preferred way to do this is to use the GeForce Experience on the PC, which goes out, scans the hard drives on the computer to see what games you have installed, and then goes and puts preferred settings that they know work with whatever video card you have and the Shield. I think in order to do the streaming, you have to have a 680 or 600 series card or newer, right? The 500 series card don't have the
built-in
H264 encoder.
Yeah. And there are some really affordable ones in the 6 and 7 series.
And it has to be a GeForce, obviously. They're not working with AMD or Intel cards.
I mean, and then also, this is the example where on the PC, on the Shield screen, you can see that South Park is loaded in from the GeForce Experience, and so you have that built in. I'm going to unplug and see if we can get the capture better again. Let's see the mirror mode.
Did we lose the
capture?
So
you're doing a couple things. You're piping out in terms of processing. You're streaming over Wi-Fi and playing video playback. In addition to that, you can also then pipe out to Twitch.
Wait, what?
Which is kind of weird, but actually kind of a cool feature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to...
Hold on. You're saying you can... Not only can you stream Android games from the tablet to Twitch, but you can stream a game from your PC and then streaming that game from the tablet that it's being streamed to.
Yeah. So what I can do is, there's this Twitch menu that lets me enable a camera and microphone. I'm going to actually disable the microphone. And I have it connected to my account. And it will broadcast exactly what's on the screen.
So right
with
now,
an
people
overlay.
who follow you on Twitch just got a notification that said,
Yep.
"Hey, Norm's on his Android desktop."
Yeah, and I can move the position of this the overlay
I
for the
can't help but
camera.
notice that there's a camera there with you on it.
There's a camera there. You get your information, how many people are watching right here in the top corner.
Nobody's watching.
No one's watching. It's 720p, 30 FPS. I got on a good connection between 2.5 and 3.5 megabits.
That's
output,
pretty good.
Which is fine. And you can do Let's Plays for desktop. Let's do a Let's Play for web browsing. Let's not actually do a Let's Play for web browsing. But I can do something like, for example, if I go to my Shield Hub, and this is the ideal scenario, and I can do Let's Plays for Android games. For example, Smash Hit.
Pure chess.
That also works. So I can launch a game like this, and people could watch my overlay and watch my reactions as I'm playing the game, as is very fashionable these days, right? Let's Plays.
How agitated did you get when you Let's Play something? Scale of 1 to 10.
Not very for me.
Have you ever played Spelunky, Norm?
No. Oh, I've played Spelunky, but I don't Let's Play Spelunky.
Okay.
And then I can tap out of that. Let's go into the home menu. I mean, if you want to do like Picto Chat style Let's Play drawings, you just pull up that Dabbler app again, and you could share the stylus.
Show your art.
Yeah, I can pull the stylus
show your
out.
webcomic design chops.
Right there, and I can pull into, let's show just right, for example.
Oh, we got aspect ratio problems.
There it goes. There it goes, and I can aspect ratio problems, and it even flipped my monitor. So imperfect. Dick pics all the way down.
Don't
Nope, nope.
I want to see you stream South Park while you're streaming it.
That actually gets both the Shield tablet hot.
Yeah.
Kills battery life because I have it plugged in.
Okay.
When you're doing the maximum, I guess it's just video playback. The most taxing thing is a video game. So trying to, something like that will last you 4 hours.
Okay.
Web browsing and video playback on an HD video, and I'm still streaming right now. It's really funny. Will get you 8 hours. When you're streaming over then your PC, then it's about 6 hours on battery. But when you're piping out again, that cuts that in half.
So, okay, so that was a lot of battery information. 10, 12 hours? Just normal use? 8 hours?
10 hours normal use, 8 hours for video playback.
Okay.
I'm going to show you something.
And streaming games from a PC counts as video playback.
Video playback, exactly. With like streaming video playback, like YouTube. There's something called the Grid, Nvidia Grid. Now, it's not available everywhere.
Hold on. Is Jeff Bridges involved with this?
He's not involved with this.
Sad.
It is like the local playback, but instead of using your computer, you're using Nvidia's computer. It's like OnLive.
Okay. So it's only available in America, probably?
It's only available if you're close to San Jose right now, because they're beta testing it, which we are, fortunately.
Well,
I'm going to launch it.
Jiminy Jillikers.
This is, and I'm still streaming out, so this is the perfect optimization.
How do they know what games you have?
It's their games.
Oh, so it's all free.
It's all free right now because it's the beta test. So it's analyzing our network. It wants to know I have a Shield. I have 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It wants to see if my ISP has the right bit rate downstream, and then
they just said they're testing our patience.
Yeah, because they're being funny.
That's
and
clever.
right now, this is their servers. And I can do something like, let's do Street Fighter.
Street Fighter seems like it would not work well in this scenario.
And this is actually running a PC version of Street Fighter on their servers. It actually ties it to your account, so it saves games for you, the instance.
I feel like Daft Punk should be playing in the background right now.
The Grid. And of course, it didn't work. Oh, no.
Oh, here we go.
Here it goes. Yes. It did work. Huzzah.
Huzzah.
This is very much a beta.
Did you set the transparency on the video window in the bottom right?
No, it's just default.
Oh.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
Ick.
This is Street Fighter.
That does look like
Press start.
Street Fighter 4 Arcade
This right
Edition.
now is a much better experience because our Wi-Fi here is better than at home.
You mean our internet here?
Our internet here is, yeah.
Well, and you also don't have like 12 people on your on the Wi-Fi here.
Right. This is probably the best experience I've had so far.
Playing Street Fighter over the internet?
Well, using the Grid service. I played Dead Island. I played Street Fighter. Not very good.
Latency-wise, or frame rate, or like do you get weird JPEG artifacts?
A lot of artifacting and latency. And so right now, this is like, think about what's going on right now. Nvidia on their servers is playing an instance of Street Fighter, which is tied to my account. Piped over Wi-Fi, piped to our internet, then over to this tablet. At the same time,
I don't think there's any Wi-Fi on the server side for what it's worth.
On the same time, I'm piping this out on Twitch.
People are going to tell you you're really bad at Street Fighter.
I'm really bad at Street Fighter, but it's playing it. I'm on easy difficulty, so I might win this.
I don't think we're going to get all the way to the end of you winning.
But I'm playing Street Fighter. I think that's kind of cool. In a perfect scenario, and there's things that Nvidia can't control, like your local internet connection and how far away you are from the server. But the things they can control.
Yeah, if you have a crap router, this isn't going to work.
Right. If you have a 5 gigahertz router, more Hadoukens, just more Hadoukens all the time. This is something that, and they've shown that they can continually provide support for this. I could see people using this. I don't know how much they're going to charge for this. Right now, it's free.
Free seems like a good price.
I kicked his ass.
I don't.
Easy. I'm terrible at Street Fighter. FYI.
5 blocks
Please don't
of
critique my Street
People
Fighter.
are gonna have a lot to say.
No one's watching. It's so sad. Look, 0 people watching.
Oh, I'm
Still
sorry,
piping out, streaming down.
Never give up.
Piping out.
Never give up.
And then
look how greasy he is.
I'm gonna go back to the menu. I think. Let's talk about pricing. This is $300.
Wow, that sounds like a lot. How much does the Nexus 7 cost, Norm?
$230.
And it's a year old?
It's a year old, still $230. There's rumors that there'll be a Nexus 8. We don't know if that's the case. This is still tough to buy in terms of quantities.
Look, they don't have very many of them.
They don't have many of them. Newegg sold out. Amazon sold out. Nvidia is backlogged. People are buying them. I'm going to actually turn off the Twitch streaming right now.
It seems like to me, when you're talking about gimmicks, and we talked about, I guess you've been using the Fire Phone, which has a bad gimmick. Yes. This seems like a pretty good gimmick.
Gimmicks with lots of potential.
Especially if you're a PC gamer.
Yeah.
Because, instead, they're not taking anything away. Like the core Android tablet experience is there and it's good. The thing that they add actually seems compelling, at least to me. Yep. I'm not sure about buying an extra $60 controller and a $300 tablet. Right. That's a little bit of a bummer.
So whereas we, in the Surface Pro 3, we kind of said that it's awkward that Microsoft sells the Surface Pro 3 without the keyboard, which is really necessary to get the full experience. I don't think this gamepad is necessary if you're just buying a tablet. Like, you could spend $300, get this, and use it as 1, a good tablet with good hardware, and 2, as your Roku set-top box, and you don't need to buy the controller.
And then, but then, so how do you plug in an Xbox controller? It doesn't have a normal.
You need the adapter.
You need okay.
You need micro to USB.
The MHL USB. Host or whatever the blue one.
I'm not sure that's exactly it, but you can get USB to USB.
Okay.
But if you buy the controller, and I wish the controller worked as a PC controller, because then it spares you the need to buy an Xbox controller for your PC. That lets you do all the things like playing games and lets you control this as your living room controller.
Do you know if it'll work with a PS3, PS4 controller?
I don't know if it'll work with a PS3, PS4.
But it does Bluetooth controllers,
yes, just like Android does.
Okay.
I think it's a reasonable purchase, and I think having you can call it a gimmick, but having the stylus as something that's practical is great. The compromise is that it is a little heavier than your Nexus 7, than your iPad Mini. The battery life isn't as great as an iPad Mini or even Nexus 7, and the LCD screen, I think they did some compromises there.
Is front and back cameras?
Front and back cameras, 5 megapixels, front and back, perfectly suitable for video conferencing. I would never use this as a dedicated camera.
Is the front camera landscape or portrait?
It is
portrait.
Portrait. So when you're doing landscape for chats, you're off the side,
just like the
but
iPad.
they will orient it.
Yeah, or the Nexus 7.
I think this is I want to say it's a good device. I want to say it's a great device, but it's really good.
Battery life is the main concern?
Yeah, and you can tweak it. Battery life, when I first got it and the Wi-Fi settings weren't tweaked, it was dying in 4 hours just because it was pinging Wi-Fi constantly. You want to turn that off.
Well, hold on, when you say pinging Wi-Fi, you mean looking for other networks?
It was connected to Wi-Fi even when it was off, and it was downloading stuff in the background.
Got it, okay.
You want to tweak the battery settings. You want to limit the frame rate. NVIDIA lets you do all that. The gimmicks, if we want to call them gimmicks, that this has, local streaming, the pen, streaming out to Twitch, having this as an accessory, I think they're all net benefits.
And they don't take, more importantly, they don't take anything away.
They don't take anything away. Yeah. And if I were to buy one, if I was looking to buy an Android tablet right now, I would get this over the Nexus 7, this being a year older, with the hardware being
And it's a $70 price difference? $300 versus $230?
Yeah. Plus a $60 accessory.
Right, if you choose to do that. So that sounds like that's it. This is just the Shield tablet? The Nvidia
It's called the
Shield
Shield tablet. The old one, which I would not recommend anyone buy, is the Shield Portable, especially with this being available.
I have to imagine they're going to update that in the not too distant future with A, I hope a better controller design, and B, the new processor.
And I can also imagine Nvidia releasing something that's just a dedicated set-top box in the future without even the screen.
That makes a ton of sense too.
It's their Steam box.
It's out now. Can you buy it?
It's out now.
It's hard to find.
I bought it from Nvidia.
Okay.
You can go to nvidia.com. And buy it. The controller is actually tougher to find because everyone wants one. And I got mine from GameStop, of all places.
Did you try plugging a Xbox dongle in?
Xbox dongle into?
The Xbox dongle to make the wireless controllers work with that?
No, the wireless dongle, I don't think it works.
It doesn't work,
no,
okay.
No.
So that's it. That's the Shield tablet from Nvidia. It's new. Norm likes it. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Bye.